Well, it's a great day for cruise fans. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cruise News Show. I'm your host, Tony, with the latest cruise news updates. Story number one, an update story about Mein Schiff 6, the TUI cruise liner making its way through the Mediterranean with a challenged cruise. Let's say that. We know the story. A couple days ago, there were 12 crew members testing positive for the virus on that cruise ship, isolated, tested, retested, tested several times, and it turns out that it seems like the original 12 were false positives. They were in Piraeus, Greece yesterday. They were cleared by health officials, and today, still in Piraeus, there are ship excursions going on, people getting off the cruise ship, enjoying that cruise life. The cruise will continue finishing out its itinerary, and they're going to load it up and do it again. Again, the story is interesting, maybe much to do about nothing, or maybe a good example of how the new health protocols are working on cruise ships. And it exposes some of the challenges with the testing. It helps explain why there are multiple protocols. And it does show that even in the face of the virus making its way on the cruise ship, that it could be managed. And so, a good ending to that story. We'll put it to bed and wish those folks a bon voyage. And hey, before we jump into the next cruise news story, do you like getting these updates? If so, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you never miss the cruise news show. Do it. Second story is not necessarily a cruise story, but a travel and tourism story. Disney parks in the United States set to lay off 28,000 employees. Let me give you a breakdown. The Disney parks in Florida employ about 77,000 employees, and the park there in California employs about 30,000 employees, and now we're going to see 28,000 workers laid off. That's a significant part of the workforce. What's causing it? Well, the park in California not even open at this time, and the parks in Florida have been open with limited capacity, and demand has been soft. And even with limited capacity, those parks have not been filled up on a daily basis. And so, the virus claims a bunch of jobs at Disney, mostly part-time workers. Still, that's a significant amount of people that will not have work. But story number 3 may change some of that. Story number 3, Florida has gone into phase 3 of its reopening. This happened late last week, but I've pondered it for a few days. I don't even know what that means, phase 3 reopening, and I live in Florida. To me, it just feels like Florida is wide open. So I figured if I live here in Florida and don't really know what it means, there's probably a lot of people out there that doesn't know what it means. So let me give you a breakdown of what Florida being in phase 3 reopening means. Restaurants, bars, and nightclubs that derive 50% of sales from alcohol can operate at full capacity. Plastic menus should be cleaned after each use. Gyms and fitness centers can open at full capacity. Other businesses that can reopen with limited social distancing: movie theaters, concert halls, auditoriums, bowling alleys, arcades, playhouses, and casinos. Businesses should continue to encourage employees to work remotely, but should begin implementing plans for them to return to work. Employees can resume non-essential travel and adhere to CDC guidelines regarding isolation following travel. Local government can resume in-person meetings. State parks can fully reopen, including for overnight stays. Public beaches can fully reopen. Large sporting events can resume, but limited capacity is recommended. Theme parks can return to normal operations with limited social distancing protocols. Vacation rentals can reopen, but owners should continue disinfecting. Businesses such as salons, barber shops, and nail salons should maintain sanitation practices between customer visits and remove frequent touch items such as magazines, newspaper, and service menus. Businesses can still require customers to wear masks, but the governor here said all outstanding fines and penalties that have been applied against individuals are suspended. That's what the phase 3 of Florida looks like, and basically it's wide open. There are not very many limitations in these protocols, and so this may give Disney and other theme parks some relief, but I think part of the motivation for moving to phase 3 is really to open the door for things like cruising. Remember, Florida has the most cruise ports out of any other state in the United States, and the cruise ports are losing a significant amount of money for every day that cruising is shut down. And not only the cruise ports, but other forms of tourism, hotels, taxis, travel agents, the whole kit and caboodle. People are experiencing financial hardships because of the cruising shutdown in Florida. And it seems like this move into phase 3 is working to address that. Now, it is no secret that Governor DeSantis here in Florida has a favorable relationship with the administration. And so a lot of things could be at play here when it comes to reopening Florida. But I think it is significant, and that does lead us into our fourth story. Let's return to the Situation Room. Let's return to yesterday at the White House, and let's return to this battle between the administration and the CDC. Now, I've had some time to think about it. I've had some time to process it. I've had some time to do some further research. And last night I came away from the story thinking, yeah, it's the administration going head to head with the CDC, but I have a different mind today. What I realized is in that Situation Room, it was a meeting of the coronavirus task force. Now, of course, the task force is led by Vice President Mike Pence, but on that task force is also the head of the CDC, Robert Redfield, including all the famous people we know like Dr. Fauci. But that thing is full of other people. Ben Carson's on that thing. There are business leaders there. There are health leaders there. It's a pretty well-rounded task force mixing both health officials and policymakers, leaders of the country. So it's in that context, it's in that framing that I'm trying to understand the conversation. Robert Redfield suggested in that meeting that the cruise industry remain shut down in the United States until February 2021. His suggestion is that this industry continues to not do anything, continues to not make revenue for 5 more months. And for us cruise lovers, we're like, hey, dude, that's not cool. But at the same time, I'm not mad at Robert Redfield. His job is all about trying to keep people safe. And I think I would be more upset if he was not pushing hard for continuing to keep things shut down. That's his job. Virus bad, social gathering spreads the virus, keep everything shut down. I think if it was his call, he would just keep everything shut down. That's what he's supposed to do. I'm okay with that. But what I'm appreciating more and more is the fact that this task force is made up of both policymakers and health officials so that somebody can raise their hand and go, okay, we believe in public safety, but we also believe that we cannot destroy the financial lives of our citizens. And that's really the balance that we're talking about. To be the most safe, I mean, honestly, to be the most safe, everybody should just stay locked in their house and not do anything until the virus disappears. Now, the problem is we're all going to run out of food, and we'd all run out of money, and the whole world would crash around us if everything stayed shut down forever. And so it does suggest that a balance should be struck, and that's really what happened in that conversation yesterday. Redfield says 5 more months of no cruising, and the task force pushes back and says, well, look, there's a lot of things at play here. There's people's livelihoods at play here. There's the economy at play here. There's got to be some way to strike a balance between safety and not destroying people's lives financially. So they find a compromise, and in that compromise, they push back on the cruise industry and say, look, it's up to you to sink or swim. The recommendation is the extension of the no-sell order until the end of October, matching that the cruise line's already done for themselves. They've already said we're not going to cruise until the end of October. And interestingly, it gives the task force the ability to put their hands around the neck of the cruise industry and say, look, you want your shot? You want to restart? You're going to have to prove it. You're going to have to tell us what you're going to do. And then when it happens, it's got to be right, and it's going to be on you. If something bad happens, you got to prove that you can take care of it. And yeah, we're going to give you your shot, but look, put on your big boy pants, cruise industry, because if it goes sideways, it's on you. And of course, over the last few months, we've had this interesting debate going on whether the cruise lines should be able to step up and try to keep people safe on cruise ships. Good amount of people saying, look, the cruise lines are just greedy for people's money. They don't really care about safety. Another group of people saying, yeah, the cruise ships are some of the safest places to be, one of the safest ways to vacation. Here's the reality. If you want to just boil it down to money, fine. You can call the cruise lines greedy, but if they are greedy, what is going to protect their bag? What is going to protect their money? What's going to protect their money is keeping people safe on cruise ships. This is like a one-shot deal. If they restart cruising and people get on cruise ships and they get sick and people start dying, and that can be attributed to cruise ships, it's game over, man. It's done. It's finito, bonito. It's not going to happen if people get back to cruising and it doesn't work. So, look, I'm a cruise commentator. I'm excited. I want cruising to resume. There's a lot of seasoned cruisers out there. They want cruising to resume. There's a lot of new cruisers out there. They want cruising to resume. There's a lot of people that hate cruising. They don't want cruising to resume. But guess who has the biggest stake in all of it? It's the people that are running these cruise companies. Now, you could chalk it up to benevolence. Yes, we want to keep people safe. Or you could chalk it up to greed. We want to make a bunch of money. Well, the only way, again, I'll say it again, the only way that they can make a bunch of money is to keep people safe on the cruise ship. So whether for benevolence, whether for greed, these people are the most invested in cruising returning safely. That's what we see in this compromise. The people who are most invested in cruising returning safely will get a chance to do it. They'll get a spot at the table. They'll get to be able to have the conversation and prove themselves. And to me, that equals a good day for cruise fans. That's just my opinion. Feel free to agree or tell me that I'm wrong, or any commentary on any of these cruise news stories. I'd love to hear it in the comments. Those are the latest cruise news updates. Thanks for stopping by the show today. Please share your support by hitting the like button. This is Tony for Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.